These 14 editors all got the same 20-second footage to work with, and their submissions will blow your mind. Give me that envelope. This is wild. The prizes: $100 for third place, $150 for second, and $250 for the first place. You'll not only see who's going to win the challenge, I'll also give practical feedback which you can implement today. A few submissions really surprised me, so do keep watching. Welcome, I'm super excited. Let's start with the first one, and that's Leonard. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not... Wait. What's happening here? What is this in the top right? There's someone flying around. Let's continue. Making a living with your editing skills is not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. All right, let's quickly go back. We have 14 submissions, so we can't go too much in depth. But this looks like a weird brother of me, right? Do I look like him? Yeah, I think a lot of things were happening here. I think a lot of things also felt random, also with this text. The animation techniques are definitely not bad. It just feels really, really random. So Leonard, I'm gonna put you on D tier. Maybe even E tier, but let's put you on D tier for now and maybe move you around later on. We still have a lot of contestants. So let's go to the next one, MGM. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, really cool. You feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. I think the sound effects are definitely on point. I also love this style. I think it's like a cool comic style. And I think the style of this image also looks really cool. I'm not the biggest fan of this text. And also this color combination of the red on the almost yellowish. I don't know. I would just put this text white or black. I think that would make it look a bit better. I love this animation at the bottom. That's cool. And yeah, this style I love even more. I wish this first image was also in this style. And like this style was just in the whole video. Then this looks cool. I would just add a bit more space around this, right? Like this text feels a bit too claustrophobic in here. And then the stuck has way too much room around it. As a rule of thumb, I always try to have a bit of space around a text. Like you also don't want to be locked up in a tiny room where you can touch the walls. So MGM, I like yours better than Leonard's for now, so I'm gonna put you on C tier. Then the next one is Abdullah. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, a lot of things happening here. It's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. How much animations do you want? Yes. No, jokes aside, Abdullah did really well. I think there's some really cool effects here. Like, I was a bit overwhelmed, especially with this beginning. I think it started out super cool with this style. Then this text, I would have dragged this gradient out, right? I think this gradient is way too strong. But aside from that, I really like this scene. I also think this text effect is so much cooler, to be honest, with this outline over the head. And this scene also looks so cool. Again, I think just too much is happening here. I would remove this square here. Maybe add a bit of distance between the lines, and I think this would look even better. Then this transition is so cool, right? I also really like this, but then I'm not the biggest fan of this color combination. It's really hard to read, and especially comparing to what you had before, I think this looks so dope. And this is a complete different style, which is fine to mix and match sometimes, but again, I think it's a bit hard to read also with the colors. Maybe if you chose a bit of a different font and this was white, it would have fit. And I'm not saying you never need to use colors in your text animations, but in my opinion, it always looks better to just highlight one word in a color, keep the other text in white or black. Because if you're going to use green, purple, red, it's going to be a bit all over the show. Then I think this is a whole different style, but again, also looks super cool. I also love the film frame that comes in. And this I do really like. As you can see, just white text and then just one word in a different color. And then this animation, oh my god, looks super cool. I almost wish you would have used this style in the other animations too, just so the style is a bit the same in all the animations. And although this transition looks super cool, I don't know. I would have probably skipped this. So Abdullah, I'm gonna put you on B tier. The next one is Iman. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. That's crazy. There's so much work that went into this. Look at this 3D scene. Look at this 3D scene. Amazing. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Ooh, it started out really well, but this text animation feels a bit weird, which is such a shame because again, the start was so good. Now to be really critical, what did put me off is that the hands are twisting in a way I don't think is possible. But I also know how difficult this is to animate, so it's still really crazy. I also think the camera movements could have been a bit slower, a bit more cinematic. Again, this scene is super cool. And this scene too is so cool. It fits the text, except what I don't like is the camera movement again. Goes a bit weird here where it follows the hand up. I think a slow zoom in would have been fine. So what I'm gonna do, I like to put Iman on B tier, maybe next to Abdullah, but I think it's a bit better than Abdullah. So I'm just gonna select these. I'm gonna move them down. I'm really sorry guys, but I think Iman definitely deserves the B tier. Then the next one, Bernard. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a... What is happening here? There's an extra color grade over the footage. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Bernard, I definitely think you have some skills, but don't ever use those emojis again. If you do decide to use emojis, use Apple emojis. Of course, there's always exceptions, but I really think most people prefer Apple emojis or no emojis at all. Now let's go back to the beginning because you do have animation skills. I do see that. I think the background is fine. The text is also fine. I wouldn't include these circles with these AI images. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of this text animation. I think it's a really short form style and doesn't really fit this long form video. Now, I do think that this money animation is definitely not bad and this transition also is not bad. But again, there's a lot of things happening here. And then the background just ends here. It's gone. Now, this text animation actually looks really cool. Then again, I would match the background with the foreground. I would remove these circles and I think it would already look way better. Although I'm not the biggest fan of this image, I think you can make it look a bit better by making it a bit darker. Bernard, I'm not going to put you in F tier because I think your animation skills are definitely not bad. So I'm going to put you on E tier for now. Then the next one, Elite Cuts. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel nice sound effects, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Ooh, also really good. I liked how you just started out with no animation. You don't always have to have animation. Now this, I'm not the biggest fan of this color scheme. Now this is really personal. I wouldn't have this stroke around this iPhone. And generally, I'm not the biggest fan of red and white as a color scheme. I would have maybe even include a bit of blue because you're using the Stripe logo anyway. Maybe just black and like this bluish color. And then without the stroke, I think this animation would look a ton better. Although the animation itself is really cool and I love the sound effects. I also really like the text, how you did this also with the contrasting color. And then with the invert as a transition, you can actually already see a bit what it would look like with these colors. As you can see, this looks way better, right? Again, I wouldn't have this glow and the stroke around it, but you get the idea. And then you have this really cool 3D scene. Now, what's always difficult with these 3D scenes is that these faces are quite distracting because this doesn't really look like me, right? And normally that would be fine, but here the text is literally me saying I was working in a camera store. Now, if you're not able to find a model that's somewhat similar to me, then maybe do a faceless. And this is a good hack anyway. If you're in doubt, just use a faceless 3D model because generally also people feel a bit more connected to it. Then again, I think this scene is really cool. Now it does feel like this scene is actually almost the same room. Maybe that's also because of the lighting. But again, I love this setup. I think it's also cool working from home, you know. And I also love the camera animations, just slow zooms, and the invert transition is really smart. Compared to the others, I do miss a bit animation here and there. It's a bit, I wouldn't say boring, but you get what I mean. So Elite Cuts, I'm gonna put you on a solid C tier. I think the animation of Iman is still bit better. So let's keep that there and let's just go to the next one. And the next one is Hexen. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Ooh, no 3D animations this time, but I actually don't mind. I really like the AI animations. I also think this is cool with the paint splatter. I think you could have gone for a different font, but I don't mind it. I think it's actually quite cool. I also like that you did the paper plane in the background. Now this is also really cool. Now I'm not the biggest fan of this font, also with the number 9 and the Y is a bit small here. This animation is also really cool, although I do see a beginner mistake. Can you spot it? Never keyframe the scale of a rounded shape. Always use the size. Because look at these rounded edges, they're getting squashed and then they get extended. So aside of that huge mistake, no, I'm joking, I would also drag this animation out a bit longer. I think you can make it a bit more smooth. And it's also not bad to keep this in the screen a bit longer, because now it's not even at 20 and then it already disappears. You spend quite a lot of time to create an animation. It's always good to just drag it out as long as possible, in my opinion. Now, of course, there's a limit to it. You can't keep it in the screen the whole video. But let's say you spend half an hour on an animation. It will be a waste to just show it for 1 second, right? There's a small typo here, but hey-ho. If you don't make spelling mistakes, and if you never make spelling mistakes, you're lying. I think this scene looks really dope. Cool camera store here. Again, animation, I would just drag it out a bit longer right here. The letter S is not even in the screen and we're already at the next scene. And that rhymes. But Hexen, I think this is really not bad. I would put it maybe even on a B tier. But again, seeing Iman's animation, I would put this on a solid C. The next one is Pierre. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Oh no. Pierre cooked again. If you've seen the previous editing challenge, you know that Pierre is a good cook. He knows the right ingredients. Oh, look at this. Amazing. Like the sovereign style of Iman a bit. But combining it with like 3D movements, I haven't seen that yet. This looks beautiful, right? Oh, and that text animation. I also really love the font here. Now, this is a complete different style, but again, crazy animations here. The 3D camera coming in, boom. And then the cubes. Oh, makes me happy. But what I absolutely like the most is this scene. Like the black and white, the vibe. I really love it. I think it's also a different style, a bit of grain over it. This is wow. It just makes me so happy seeing this stuff. If I'm gonna be really critical, I would say that maybe it would have been cool to have these scenes throughout the whole video. You can't just do one scene like this. You need to do that everywhere, right? Oh my god, look at this. Pierre, I'm even gonna skip A tier. I'm gonna just put you on S tier. We still have a few others, so anything can change, but Pierre really cooked here. But maybe one of these is also an S tier. Guess we have to find out, right? The next one is Martin. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Ooh, look at this beginning scene. Oh, Martin really has the smoothness down that I like. Like, if I give feedback that I want it more smooth, this is what I mean. I really love this scene too. Yeah, Martin did really well. So well, I think it's even worth a tier. So let's put him on A tier. As you can see, anything can still happen. The next one is Sebastian. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living... I love that McDonald's POV. That is so funny. I love comedy in edits, right? Okay, let's continue. Much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. again. Oh, Sebastian. I really love this beginning scene. I think it's so funny. It's also outside of the box. I like that. Also, I think this is really cool. Again, I think this scene could be a bit better without using this character. And then I really like this scene. I think this is such a good example of how to put these AI images into place. Like a cool border in a square. If these were in a circle, it would have looked so different. And I think this looks so cool with the post-its too. So Sebastian, I'm gonna make a big move here. I'm gonna move everyone down, so there's a spot for you. And I'm also gonna move Leonard and Bernard to E tier because I don't want people in F tier. Nobody deserves that, right? I still need to get that submission where someone makes a really weird edit about me. Then that deserves an F tier. But even then, maybe it's really funny. Then I'll still put it on A tier. Going back to this, Sebastian, I'm gonna put you on A tier. Especially because I love that comedy, right? Then the next one is Zakir. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Nice. Zakir started out really well. And after that, I think there's some improvements to be made. The thing what I really like is that the colors are all in the same scheme. And also this scene is also super cool. I'm not the biggest fan of this icon. I think you can do something better with this. Or make a cool stroke of this, make it smaller, align it in the center, align the text in the center, and I think that would already look a bit better. Then here you can see a bit of puppet position pin tooling, which I think is always smart to ease the keyframes to make it a bit more smooth. Here it's a bit harsh, as you can see. But other than that, I do like this scene. I think it's definitely not bad. I also really like your transitions that you created. I am missing some text here and there, or maybe even a keyword. It doesn't have to be full text. And here also a slow zoom would have been cool too, because yeah, you're just looking at something stationary for quite a long time. Now, I do really like this scene. I think this is definitely not bad. Maybe I would have decreased the deep glow a tiny bit. Other than that, I think it's super cool. So Zakir, I'm gonna put you on D tier. The next one is Alexandra. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the I really love this. Look at this scene. It's so creative. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Oh, I want to grab that envelope. Give me that envelope. Look at how beautiful this looks. Oh, I love the vibe. Alexandra, you're making it so hard for me. I really love this scene, the style of this. This whole animation has a certain vibe to it. It makes me want to watch more, right? I don't think I even have feedback here. Maybe the only thing I would say, and this is so tiny, but like the stroke, maybe it would have been nice if there was a bit of motion blur here and if this was a bit smoother, but what am I even complaining about? Alexandra, I actually want to put you on A tier, but then again, we have to move things around. So let's move Iman to D tier for now. I'm gonna move Sebastian and Martin down, and I'm gonna put Alexandra on a really well-deserved A tier, or maybe even S tier. It's really difficult because these are so different. I think Pierre's animation was way more advanced than Alexandra's. That being said, the style of Alexandra's video was amazing. But yeah, I can't ignore that 3D scene of Pierre, especially that black and white one. So Alexandra, I'm gonna put you on A tier. The next one is Vidly. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. Super interesting style, right? Like this is the typical VSL style that you see on Twitter, especially this animation where the icon pops up and moves a bit. I felt like this scene felt a bit random, didn't really fit the style comparing to the beginning, and also not comparing to this scene. I think this scene looks really pretty, and I also think this animation with this bar is so smart, super cool. Then with this, I think you could have designed this a bit better. I like the animation. Like I would have moved this text maybe a bit down, make sure that there's a bit more room around it, make the stroke a bit thinner, make the glow a bit less. I would have changed this word to stuck, and generally I would always try to keep this also to one word, because you've used one word with the other ones. So for example, underestimating yourself can be self-doubt. Definitely not bad, Vidly. I would probably put it on D tier, But then I also know Iman's animation, which is also super good. So I'm gonna put it on E tier. Not because it's super bad or something, but the competition is just so rough. And that's crazy anyway. This is now the third editing challenge and the competition is getting way harder. Like everyone is getting better in the community. By the way, if you also want to join this editing challenge, then do join the Social Creator Club Pro. Link is in the description. You also learn how to become a better editor, learn sales, and of course connect with all of these amazing editors. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this ranking. We just have one to go. And the next one is Jensen's. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. Oh, Jensen's. I already know where this is going. Why are you making this so hard for me? We can all pack our bags. We can all just let's round up all, it was a good time. I'll close my laptop. Leave some room for us. Leave some room for us, man. I want to see this again. You ever wondered how other freelance editors make so much money while you still need a 9 to 5 to pay the bills? If you're not making a living with your editing skills, it's not your fault. I even know the feeling. For years, I worked in a camera store while doing freelance editing jobs on the side. So I know what you're going through. You probably feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, or you feel like other editors are way better than you. The music too, I think it's always so nice. Like it really drags you in. It's such a cool vibe. Jensen's. Jensen's. Well, there's only one spot and that's F tier, right? No. Yeah, we have to move things around. I'm sorry, Martin. I'm going to put you in D tier. Then let's move Sebastian and Alexandra. And then Jensen's A tier. No. Pierre, A tier. Jensen's S tier. If you also want to join this editing challenge, then do join the Social Creator Club Pro. In this editing community, there's courses to learn how to become a better editor, but also how to sell more. There's several deep dives on all your favorite creators. You get access to stock websites, which is already worth over $100 a month, and you get access to the editing challenge. Now, I want to thank all of the editors that participated. You're amazing. And I'm so passionate about this. It really makes me so happy to see all these edits. All of the links of the editors are in the description too. Now, like always, I want to thank everyone for all of the support. I really appreciate it. Because of you guys, I can do this kind of stuff and it's amazing. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and then I'll see you next time. Bye.